patio lanterns.
Kurt, you might get deja vu when I say these words. It's the day after the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton 1, Florida 5. Kurt, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm all right.
The exact words I said about a year ago this time on the
Wait, did you go back to the? Did you go back and listen?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm okay, I guess. I was a little hot and sweaty, and as you know, I was having trouble with the mic there before the show, but yeah, are we doing this? We're going to talk about hockey.
Let's talk about hockey right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, they got dominated. They got dominated last night, and really, what happened here? One of these teams pulled a Coffey Anderson. One of these teams pulled a Coffey Anderson and boomed us. They tricked us into believing that this was going to be a close series and that these were two evenly matched teams after the first two games. Now, I don't know, and we'll talk about it. I'm not really sure which team pulled the Coffey Anderson, but this team boomed us. It was not a close series. One team was clearly better than the other one.
The Florida Panthers.
After 6 games. Yeah, the Florida Panthers. So games 1 and 2, really close. Overtime, double overtime, and pretty close. It was in the Florida's end. It was in Edmonton's end, back and forth. Game 3, pure domination by Florida. They really took control basically then. And then even in game 4, they took control. Edmonton had a miraculous comeback from down 3-0 and won, which gave us fans hope. The series was tied 2-2 at that point. And you're going back to Edmonton. And you've got the home crowd. You're feeling good after that big comeback. And they absolutely lay a stinker. Florida masterclass in playing hockey. Edmonton got nothing going in that game 5 on home ice. Their power play had nothing going. Florida capitalized on these turnovers and other chances that they created, and they just dominated them from start to finish. Edmonton had 0 in that game, and they basically just carried that over to game 6 where, first couple of minutes, maybe Edmonton looked okay. And then like every other game in the series, they let in 2 or 3 goals in the first period. And so I think the stat was Edmonton only led after 1 period in the whole series. Otherwise it was tied or Florida was leading. And I forget what the minutes were, but Florida led for 200 minutes of the series, probably more after last night, and Edmonton led for 30 minutes of the series. But last night in game 5, just pure domination by Florida. So I lean actually, I don't know about the boom part, but I lean to this being more of a showcase of how good Florida is rather than maybe Edmonton not playing up to expectations.
Did Connor McDavid score any goals?
He scored in game 5.
Okay. And then how did you loop in Coffey Anderson for the average listener? Right. How is he representing Florida here? What the booms? What's going on here? What's the deal?
It goes back to a really old Patio Lanterns episode, and I think it was when Coffey Anderson said he was going to come on the show, and then he backed out, and then we kind of ranted about him, and that might have led us to stripping him of the Song of the Summer title for Bud Light Blue. I think that was the whole spiral there.
You were even listening to it before when we're in the pre-show.
Yeah, that's right. Huh. Yeah, I mean, he's a staple Patio Lanterns guy. So I try and to get hyped up, I put in the staples, Big Wet and Tall Boy or whatever.
Branches and Big Wet.
Just in Big Wet, Coffey Anderson, Nickelback, of course. They're good anywhere. But yeah, Coffey boomed us probably about 7 years ago, and we still haven't forgotten about that.
Patio Lanterns doesn't forget Coffey.
7 years. I guess we passed another. Did we pass another milestone and not talk about it?
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, we're at 7 years. But
Speaking the hockey of the number 7, How do you feel about pulling the goalie with 7 minutes to go? Like, I feel like I've seen close to, 4 minutes is pushing it in my head, but they were down 3 and they pulled it at 7. I think that's fucking suicide. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, of course, Florida's going to get a goal of 7 minutes. It's impossible to sustain that pressure. Like, you need to rely on your regular ice team to step up at this point. I think that's
No, no,
a
not in
terrible
this
decision. It
case.
doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, that's the
Okay.
Patrick Waugh school of coaching because he's known to like pull his goalies really early. But in this case, there's nothing happening. There's absolutely nothing happening. It's a Hail Mary, an absolute Hail Mary. They're generating zero offense the entire game. They're down by 3 goals. Yeah, pull them. Pull
At
them.
7 minutes, what's next? 10 minutes? You're just gonna keep it going?
Yeah, I mean it was over. It was over after that first, well, maybe even after the first goal, but after 2, I was like, yeah, it's done. They really need to get out to a lead for once in this game. Like they had the lead in game 1. They scored a minute in Draisaitl, and then they coughed that up pretty quickly, and then the rest of the series, I think Florida scored the first goal every game, and they were just always chasing. Last night, like they loaded up, and they did this a lot this series because they had nothing going, but they loaded up Draisaitl and McDavid, the Oilers did, and really that line had nothing going. Like Florida they're good. So we got to give credit to Florida. Their forecheck was incredible. They were just putting immense pressure on the Oilers. And the Oilers offense couldn't get anything going in Florida's end either. I mean, Florida had like 3 amazing lines. They had that Barkov and Reinhart line, which is mainly used to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl. And they have Bennett, the Conn Smythe winner, and Kachuk. And then you have Marchand and Lundell and Luosterainen on the third line. And yeah, they just crushed them. Like after those first 2 games, it was tilted so heavily in Florida's favor in every single way: offense, defense, penalty kill, power play, goaltending. It's tough. It's tough because going into the series, I felt pretty good. I felt like they could take them. Losing Hyman was a big loss before, but I felt like they could take them. I was worried actually about the penalty kill because the penalty kill for the Oilers has been awful the whole playoffs. Penalty kill, I mean, yeah, it wasn't great in this series either, but really wasn't the main problem, really. I don't think so. I mean, maybe it would have got them another game or something, but they had other issues going on. But I don't know, like Edmonton really had no match, no answer for Florida. They were just all rolling. Edmonton's depth kind of just dried up, and this was the best the depth had performed through kind of this McDavid and Draisaitl era. Like they were known as in these playoffs, they were known as a deep team, a 4-line team. Well, that kind of evaporated pretty quickly once they started playing Florida. And man, they're a good team though. So it sucks. It sucks a lot. And I think it makes me more disappointed about last year's result.
Right.
This year's, because now it's like, man, they were actually closer last year. They went to game 7, 1 goal away.
Yeah.
And probably played better. They throughout the whole series played better in that series. Obviously they lost the first 3 games, but I don't know if that actually was fair. Like I think they might have outplayed them in 1 or 2 of those games. But anyways, I think they played better last year in that 7-game series, and they come out short then. It sucks now looking back on that after they got smoked in this one after, the last 3 or 4 games. They kind of got smoked. So
Yeah, you didn't really talk about the goalie problems, but like who's not Edmonton's number 1 goalie? They went with Skinner and then flip-flopping back and forth. Issues there. Do you think Edmonton got better or worse? Or when did we have the clear matchup? Did either team get better? Which team got better or worse compared to last year? Like did Edmonton just flatline and Florida got better? Or do you think Edmonton got worse and Florida stayed the same?
Well, yeah, that's what they were talking about, right? They were talking about both teams had gotten better. And I think Florida definitely showed that they did get better. They were a beast this year, and Marchand was a huge addition, like easily could have won the Conn Smythe. And Seth Jones on defense turned out to be a great ad and just eating minutes on the blue line. So I think Florida for sure got better, no question. Edmonton, I'd still probably say they did get better, but it really came crashing down in the final. But I guess you could make an argument, I guess, that they were better last year. I think the main differentiator for me is last year their penalty kill was elite. They let in, I think, 4 goals in the entire playoffs, whereas it was kind of typical for them to let in 2 goals, 3 goals a game on the penalty kill in these year's playoffs. So that I think maybe you can make an argument that they were better last year, and I think they matched up at least better against Florida last year. But that was also because Florida was worse last year. So, I'd have to say Edmonton did improve, but Florida just improved that much more, and then they just look good. I mean, they looked great, and then, they just killed us. They killed us after game 2 there, and then the goaltending. I mean, I'm not a blame the goaltender guy. I think it's kind of lazy. It's also similar to like blame the coach. Like the coach isn't playing. So that being said, at some point you do need a save. And Edmonton really needed like a goalie. They either needed their goalie to steal a game or like a McDavid to steal a game by putting on like a show. And they didn't have either in this round at least. So, and then like, even if I just look at last night's game and I look at the 3 goals, just because they're super recent and on my mind, like they're not necessarily Skinner's fault. And this is kind of typical of how I felt about him and Pickard like the last couple of years. It's not necessarily their fault, but it's like, it'd be sure nice if they saved that. Like the first goal, Reinhart scores a really nice goal. So on the Florida Panthers side, it's a beautiful goal. And it's awful turnover. An awful turnover by Ekholm, who was awful the last 2 games especially. Bouchard has trouble handling that grenade of a pass. Ekholm gets walked. And now it's 1-on-1, but Reinhart's kind of following. He kind of flubs it. I think you need a save there. So the goal, I wouldn't blame it on Skinner there, but you really need a save. The second one, maybe not. He did get a piece of it. So that was Tkachuk walking in from the blue line with all kinds of space. Skinner, I believe, got a piece of it with his glove. So in that case, yeah, you wish he would have just had his glove a bit higher or whatever and caught that one. But I mean, Tkachuk was all in alone, and there were screens in front. Another thing that Florida just killed Edmonton at was getting bodies in front of the net, getting dirty, getting greasy. Without Hyman, they've had Perry maybe in front of the net a few times, but they really didn't get enough traffic in front of Bobrovsky. And then that third goal was horrible.
With the
and
rebound control?
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah,
that was bizarre. That was bizarre. I watched that. I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, to me, I listened to a podcast after, but what I saw at the time was it looked like he hit it with his chest, and he hit it to an awkward spot, and then he reacted slow. Like, it's like he quit. It's like Skinner kind of quit on the play. I was like, what are you doing? And then, of course, it gets shot in the net, deflected off a skate, but listening to a podcast which had, I think, Skinner talking about it after the game was he tried to catch it between his arm or something or in his equipment. And he thought he was at least putting it in a safe spot, but no. And others said like he hit it with his blocker. I haven't watched the replay since, so I don't know if he hit it with his blocker or I thought it was a blocker save that. Okay, so he hit it with his blocker, but it was really casual, really awkward, and then a slow response. And I'm like, after that, it's like, I mean, I already thought it was probably over after the 2 goals, but then it was like, yeah, it's definitely stick a fork in them. They're done. But that's like, what the hell? So that one, yeah, they got pinned in their own zone, but like terrible rebound there. It's like, what the hell? So with the goaltending, like I've always been like fine with the goaltending. I don't think the Oilers need like a Carey Price or even a Bobrovsky or a Sorokin or Vasilevsky necessarily. And they probably can't afford that with the way their team's structured. They can't afford a $10 million goalie. So I've been like fine-ish with Skinner and Pickard. Like Skinner's shown flashes that he's hit, for example, he's had like 3 or 4 shutouts in these playoffs. So his biggest knock is he can kind of go play up to this level and then play down to this level in like a blink of an eye. So now I'm at the point where if I'm making changes, you got to do something. That doesn't necessarily mean you ship Skinner out, but you got to look around and see if you can find someone else that's capable of playing net for you. And it's kind of tough because, if you look at last season, like Pickard is one of the best backups in the league. Like he won a ton of games for the Oilers. I'm not sure if his save percentage or his goals against, like his stats were all that great. But he just put up win after win after win when Skinner was kind of floundering. They turned to Pickard and he was just winning games. So, you're looking at maybe probably moving one of those guys out or demoting one of them, and then hopefully bringing in someone else that can kind of challenge for that number one role and make a difference. So it's still not my number one concern, and it's not why they lost the series. Like if Bobrovsky's in the Oilers net, the Oilers still don't win that series. But it's on the list for sure of areas that need improvement. But yeah, they just that's what I mean. Like I can't think of, there's not a single area that the Oilers were even close in, I don't think. It looked that way after the first 2 games, and everyone was saying the margins between these 2 teams are razor thin, and it was awesome hockey. People are talking about it potentially being one of the best finals in years, the best of all time, that sort of thing. And then it just tilted Florida's way so much. They just controlled so much of the play and were so opportunistic. Everything went Florida's way. I mean, they earned it. So it sucks. It sucks. It sucks to lose. So like I said this last year, who knows if the Oilers can make it there again? It's really hard. And then they made it this year. They did end up making it, but there's no guarantees.
All right. There's always next year, right?
There's always next year. And so I was in Edmonton, and maybe we'll get to my little road trip later.
Yeah, definitely.
But just because we're talking about hockey, I was in Edmonton for games 4 and 5. 4 was actually a Florida game, and 5 was a home game in Edmonton. So, and I wasn't at the arena for either of those games because they do play the game at the arena when it is in Florida or when it's an away game. And then of course,
what's it called? The ice something?
Well, they have a few different things. They got the in-arena experience. I don't know what they call that. Then they have the moss pit outside. Then they have they have the fan part. I don't know. They got multiple things. But basically, I went to a bar both times, and it was just to be in the city for vibes. And I mean, I'm glad they got the 1 win because that was awesome. And that was that comeback game in game 4 where it looked like they really were shit in the bed and they came all the way back and won in overtime. And that was awesome. And then game 5 was just, like I said earlier, that was just a huge bummer. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like there was nothing to cheer about. Like I think Draisaitl hit the side of the net in the first period and people in the bar were like, yeah. And I was like, I don't think that was in. And then, yeah, it was not in. And like they just said there was nothing happening. There was no offense at all. And that's when I knew like game 5 is really when it was like cemented that this is Florida's series. Like they're on another level here because they dominated us in that game and they carried that over to game 6.
Yeah. What was the energy like inside the bar when things were going well? Like were people going off?
People were getting hammered drunk, we were trying to leave the bar at the end of the night and somebody won like this little 50-50 pot that was going on, wanted to buy us drinks. Then, I got to get out of here. And no, people were high-fiving.
I gotta drive back to Penticton.
Yeah, I got to drive back to Penticton. Yeah, everyone's cheering and high-fiving. And it was really cool. Like, I kind of talked about it last year when I didn't do that, but it was really cool to be there, surrounded by the fandom and see how crazy it got and just see just the passion from everyone and just be cheering with them. So that was cool. So glad they at least got the 1 win that I was in the city for.
Yeah. Damn, boy. God damn. I'm sorry, man. I could feel it. I could feel the disappointment. Palpable.
Yeah, and I don't know.
You needed a win. You needed a W.
Yeah, I needed a win.
The
especially recently. I just needed a win.
Mm-hmm.
I got no job. I got no winning hockey team. What the hell?
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, I'm okay. Whatever.
Yeah,
Just
it's
hockey.
summertime, man. Now you can just do some Hawkeye walks on Skaha Beach on repeat for like 8 hours a day.
Yeah. I was
Just
thinking
oiled up, crop
I was thinking
top,
about
8 hour laps.
hot guy walking with the SPCA.
Bro,
Oiling
dude.
up,
Yeah.
wearing crop tops, walking dogs.
Yes. Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
problem with those, actually, because I was thinking about that again, like, I think you're supposed to wear at least pants, maybe not long sleeves, but at least pants. And, yeah, you kind of mixed results with some of these dogs, right? So how exposed do I want to be by some of these dogs that are maybe a little bit more anxious, a little bit more scared than others? Yeah, but yeah, something to think about. Hot guy walks with the dogs.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Kurt's single here, people. If you see him, hot guy walking with the dog in Penticton, the crop top on. I mean, how do you not go say hi to that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's hear about the old Kootenay road trip. Last episode, we filmed here in Nelson, British Columbia, in
That was nice.
for my home. Yeah, actually no, it was and. God, yeah, it was good having you here. Kurt just says, thanks for the food, Randy. Like, I'm gonna go over to Edmonton and go cheer on the Oilers, but yeah, made a few stops along the way, and I think I did a very similar road trip like last year, and we even discussed it. I think shortly before the Stanley Cup Finals, and
you ranked the towns, didn't you?
Yeah, well, so let's hear it, man. What do you think of the? We've talked a little bit about Central Kootenays. Yeah, curious what you hear about the East Kootenays, Fernie, Cranbrook, Kimberley.
Yeah, let's go through the towns real quick, maybe, and then I can kind of walk you through it, how it went actually. But I didn't spend much time in these towns, so I had one night in Vermeer, one night in Fernie, drove through Kimberley, drove through Cranbrook, drove through Creston. So I forget which ones you ranked, but I mean, I think you hated Cranbrook the most, right?
Yeah.
Cranbrook, it's funny. Like, I see what you mean, but I also wonder if it gets an unfair rap, because it's kind of one of those drive-through towns. So, so Cranbrook, you drive through it. What do you think? Like, really ugly, shitty. It's filled with gas stations and crap and A&Ws and McDonald's, and it's just a highway through town, or is that what you're thinking?
I think that was my biggest beef with Cranbrook. The whole town was just divided by this highway. I actually spent a night in Cranbrook. With my dad last year on this road trip, and yeah, I wanted to give it a fair chance to see where all the neighborhoods like. So yeah, what killed me with Cranbrook is that you have this 4-lane highway going through the middle of town that just kind of divides it, and then everything else is just kind of suburbia. It's the mountains are there as a backdrop, but they're so far away because they're not really accessible. Like, you see the Rockies to the east, and it's a beautiful backdrop, but that's like 2 hours away from Cranbrook.
Okay.
You can get closer on the Purcell side, but Cranbrook wasn't doing it for me. The downtown wasn't anything special. I mean, what can I say? 20,000 people, twice the size of Nelson, but it's just I wasn't doing it for old Ryan.
Yeah, so because Cranbrook, so another town popped into my mind, but you know what I was thinking about? You know what other city has a kind of looks kind of shitty? No, actually, that's not what I was thinking, but that's a good one too. But it's another city that's kind of shitty when you're driving through it. It's kind of ugly. Kelowna, bridge to airport is Cranbrook. It might be worse. It does
remind me of that.
And
That's
then you also had me thinking about Golden, because Golden is a drive-through town for a lot of people. You just drive through it, and it's quick. It's really small and short, but it's kind of got that same vibe a little bit. I think you're a bit closer to the mountains, so it's not quite there yet. But Kelowna definitely came to mind because I've always hated that drive from Bridge to airport. And then Vernon, sure, Vernon would be another garbage town, but and then even Penticton, like you drive along the highway because they don't do anything with that channel. It's kind of blah when you're kind of driving past. You don't really drive through Penticton, you drive past it, and it's kind of blah. But
here's why I think it's more similar to Vernon is because there's no body of water there. Kelowna and Penticton are graced with beautiful lakes, and Cranbrook.
But you don't see it when you're on that stretch.
Fair, but it's there. It's there in the city.
Well, Cranbrook had a lake, didn't it?
Jack Smith Lake?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's like 20 minutes out of town. It's a tiny little lake. It's no Skaha, that's for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I just drove through Cranbrook. I saw what you meant, but I did like the mountains in the background. I was like, oh, there's some mountains peeking
nice.
up. Yeah. But yeah, I saw what you meant. Like, whatever. It's just like dealerships and whatnot. Creston.
I'll say this: if I was looking at raising a family, I'd be looking pretty seriously at the East Kootenays, Cranbrook, because it is like the most affordable pocket left in southern BC, really. Like by a large margin. Like you can afford a single family house in Cranbrook still.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Well, there's a reason, but I mean, like when you look at PG, it's like it's cheaper than PG, and like I'd rather live in Cranbrook than Prince George.
Okay.
Right.
Creston seemed okay. I don't know. I don't know. It seemed okay. I don't really have any notes on Creston.
There's a little farmer town.
Yeah, a little farmer town. It's fine. Kimberly, I liked Kimberly, and I just drove through it quickly. And I think you first go through a little town or village, Maryland or something like that.
Yeah.
Kimberly, I could raise some horses, some goats. I don't know, like I've never been, but it reminded me of Jackson, Wyoming, a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Again, never been there, but that's kind of what I picture. These little ranchers on the top of a hill. You got some farm animals running around. Kimberly was kind of cool. So I liked Kimberly. I thought that was pretty. And then Fernie was okay. Like I didn't spend enough time in Fernie. Like I went to the downtown only in the morning when I went for a quick jog. Otherwise, I was there, did a quick little walk, hike, and just spent the night there. The mountains are there for sure. Nice backdrop.
They're right there. Like I think that gives me the edge of Fernie over Revelstoke, because the mountains of Fernie are like right. You can't miss them. It's pretty incredible. Right. Revelstoke, they're kind of hidden a bit more.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. I probably haven't spent enough time in either town to really say, but sure. Invermere was definitely one I was looking forward to, and you're right. Like it's hilarious how similar it is to the Okanagan. I just
Okanagan of the Rockies, people. Invermere, BC.
More mountains, more trees, less vineyards.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, you kind of look down. I went on this little hike just outside of Windermere. Is just where the hike was, I guess. And yeah, you look down. I was like, yeah, that's Penticton right there, between kind of like two bodies of water, some hills, and then of course there were the mountains in the background. And then I went to the beach that same day. Yeah, just relaxing here on Invermere Beach, Kinsman Beach, or whatever it was called. So Invermere was cool. The problem with all these towns for me, once again, is they're kind of in the middle of nowhere, which I'm sure is the draw for a lot of people, but just I want to be able to also kind of get out from time to time as well. So it seems tricky with some of these places, including Nelson.
Invermere seems like it's an interesting spot, just like Okanagan and the Rockies, like bigger mountains, more adventurous, less vineyards, golf courses. You were driving in from the south, and I'm sure you saw there was just fucking like 30 kilometers of golf courses along the river at one point. Like it just kept on
I didn't even
going.
notice.
Really? Oh yeah, tons of golf courses. And I think living there, you have to be used to the idea that like rich Calgarians just come there to get hammered drunk in the summertime and go live that Okanagan Rocky Mountain lifestyle.
It's still that's a weekend thing, right? Or like it's
yeah.
still quite the
It's
hike
like it's
from
got to be
Calgary.
like 3.5 to 4
Yeah.
hours away from Cowtown.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's not hard, or it's not easy to get to like a major airport. Yeah, for sure. Invermere is cool.
I thought it was the best. I think in my ranking, Invermere was the highest. You might think, well, what about Kimberley? But Kimberley seemed like a ghost town to me. I remember going there in May Long, and that like little German Platzel Square was just dead quiet. Like,
yeah,
no
I didn't stop there, and I drove through first thing in the morning. And,
okay.
I drove through the little town, and it was empty, and
yeah.
There's some cars and stuff, but there's nothing happening in town. And was that like I don't know what day was that. Whatever, but yeah, there was nothing happening. I just thought the landscape was kind of nice. That's all.
So would you take from what you saw Invermere or Kimberley as your top East Kootenay pick?
Well, I spent time in Invermere, and Invermere seems like it had more to offer. Like I said, Kimberley is a place you want to go and be even more isolated.
Yeah.
And kind of just have your own big property, some horses, some sheep, some cattle, and some guns, a rocking chair, and that sort of thing. So Invermere, I guess, but I just thought visually, I was like, oh yeah, we could do a cowboy photo shoot here in Kimberley.
Oh yeah, that's primo.
Yeah,
it's higher up in the mountains, so you get some of that more Jackson, Wyoming kind of look to it.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the highest. So the Kimberley and Rossland is the highest city in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, one of those two. I think it's pretty high up there.
Yeah. Okay. I went to that summit. What about that summit that you take right after Nelson there?
Yeah, the Nelson to Creston Kootenay
That's
Pass.
a nice summit with a nice lake at the top, hey?
Yeah. That's pretty nice. I think that's the highest. Yeah, it is the highest highway. Also, I think in BC, probably Canada.
Right.
You get right up into the Alpine, which is so sick.
Yeah.
Like you can do great hikes off of there apparently because you already did your car did all the hard work. You're just cruising up at the Alpine level at that point.
Yeah. So let's see. I left your place, Nelson. Then I went to Fernie, right? Yeah, I went to Fernie, and I just did a little outdoor activity there. Checked out the brewery, of course, and then kind of hit the hay. Didn't do much there in Fernie, just one night there, and then I got up early and went to Invermere. So that's a little bit of backtracking, and then you recommended that I kind of do a little detour or the long scenic way, and that's what took me through Kimberley. So I would have gone through I think I went through Cranbrook the first day on the way to Fernie, but then on the way back I didn't quite hit Cranbrook.
So
then I went through Kimberley, then I hit Invermere. Invermere, beautiful. Like I said, it's the Okanagan of the mountains of the Kootenays, and it's beautiful. The lakes, the mountains, the hills, everything. So did a hike. It was freaking hot, and then went to the local brewery there, really good. And then went to the beach. Everything was kind of closed as far as like bars and stuff go. On Monday, I think that was the Monday. So nothing was really happening there. So I actually watched the game. I picked up some good old fashioned A&W and watched the game in the hotel or motel room that I had. That was game 3. That might have been that blowout one.
Yeah, when I was there last year, I think the Canucks were playing the Oilers in the playoffs back in May 2024, and there was more Edmonton fans than Vancouver fans there. So I think they definitely identify more with Albertan culture over in Invermere in the East Kootenays than the West Coast.
Yeah, right. And then after that, I went to Calgary. So my sister's in Calgary, so I stayed. So on the way to Calgary, I took the scenic route through. Maybe it was just the fastest way, but I went through Kootenay and Banff National Park a little bit, and then down through Canmore. Did some hiking in Canmore. Canmore was really nice, as it always is. Already super busy with tourists and other people, but beautiful day out there. So yeah, I went through Canmore and then went to Calgary, where my sister lives, and spent a couple days there. So Alberta was getting some smoke from the forest fires that were happening up there.
Okay.
So it did get a little smoky. It was fine like the first day, or it was fine in Canmore, and then when I got into Calgary, a little smoky, and then the next day was smokier. But I still went out towards like Bragg's Creek area, which is like southwest of Calgary, and did like a hike. Couldn't see shit at the top of the mountain because it was all smoke.
Oh, yeah, that's too bad.
But that was good. That was a good grind. And then, kind of hung out there. And then the next morning, just ripped up to Edmonton. Except I took a little bit of a weird route. I went to Drumheller, I went through Drumheller. So I went.
Yeah, that's the opposite way.
Yeah, well,
You get your directions all mixed up.
It's not the exact opposite. It's like northeast of Calgary.
Okay.
But it's a ways. It's like an hour and a half adder probably to the drive or something. An hour and a half adder. But I just went and saw, was it like Horseshoe Canyon or something? And then the weather was kind of shitty. It was rainy, whatever. So I didn't spend too much time there. And then I went and saw the world's biggest dinosaur. And started driving up to Edmonton, and instead of going up like the main QE2 way directly from Calgary up to Edmonton, now I'm kind of on the east side, and I'm driving up these roads. And I started pouring rain, but made it up there okay. And then there was a game that night. Watched it in a bar, and then the next day, just kind of explored more of the downtown and River Valley areas, I think, and went by the arena. And then they had another game on Saturday and watched that. They sucked. And then I got up super early and made the huge drive back on Sunday. And so I had to get up at just after 5 a.m. And so there's a bonus where I didn't get blitzed from an Oilers win or something on the Saturday night. I got up, on 5 or 6 hours of sleep, got up, and I committed I was going to go the long way and go through the Icefields Parkway as well. I was like, it's going to be a long ass drive either way. Might as well go the scenic route. So, it was like a 13 or 14 hour trip home on Sunday. I thought I was going to get home later, but I did minimal stopping. I thought I might spend more time in the park, but I didn't.
How's Jasper looking 1 year after that?
Yeah, fire? Jasper, if you didn't know, it got burned pretty bad. So did not go through Jasper proper. I almost regretted not driving to the town, but you can kind of see it. I mean, but even driving by, everything's burnt down. Everything's burnt to a crisp there. So it was pretty crazy actually to see. It's like boring ass drive from Edmonton to Hinton. I think that was like 3 hours or something. That's really boring. Then it's another hour or less to Jasper. Jasper was burnt down. But then when you hit through the park, it's just beautiful, of course, if you spent time there in the parkway. So then I went through the whole parkway, a couple of quick stops, but otherwise really was focused on just driving home. And then kind of got out on the other side and went out the normal way, Golden and Revelstoke. And once I hit Revelstoke and had some food, that's when I started getting tired. I was like, oh man, this is kind of a long drive actually.
That's a long haul.
And then I ripped it. I had ripped it to Revelstoke, and then I ripped it home, and I made pretty good time actually, but I was pretty tired after that. That was a pretty good drive actually.
Yeah, why didn't you just break it up, like spend the night in Revy or something like that? Clearwater.
Stupid. What a stupid idea. I didn't want to. I thought about it, but I didn't want to pay for another night anywhere. So
All right. Enough yammering. I got a song of the summer nom for you.
Oh shit!
Canadians. The band is called Odds, and the song is called "Eat My Brain."
Sounds promising.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do not know that one. I'll have to give it a listen. So, can you tell us a little bit more about it, maybe?
Yeah, just being on the precipice of World War III, we're out here filming, this podcast, and it just makes me want to eat my brain. That's kind of maybe I want someone just to kind of, just get rid of all the voices, just blah, 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 just eat it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is this a newer song, older?
Oh yeah, early 2000s for sure.
Oh, okay. Would I know it? Maybe.
I think it was on one of my Big Shiny Tunes CDs in the car.
Is it a rock song?
Yeah, punk rock.
Okay. Yeah. I don't recall it by the name and the band, but I'll have a listen for sure. Good one. So I think we're at 4 after we cut out Celebrity Skin by a hole. They were disqualified.
Yeah, this is my first.
So we're up to 4, which is okay. I'm okay. Like I said earlier, I'm okay with a smaller list. So we'll get there here. We'll get a good solid list by the end.
It is a challenge. Like I was looking through my liked songs list on Spotify and searching on most of the artists, and it's just like American, and it's like, oh Christ.
You know who's coming out with a new album, a sequel album?
Coffee.
You wouldn't qualify for our song of the summer this year, unfortunately. But Brian Kelly, friend of the show, BK, Beach Cowboy, is coming out with a new album. And not only just a new album, but it's titled Sunshine State of Mind Season 2, Chapter 1. And it seems like he's kind of bringing back that beach cowboy sound. Like a couple of the released songs are called Palm Tree Country and Saltwater Ranch. So I listened to one the other day, and it definitely brings back the original Sunshine State of Mind BK Beach Cowboy vibe, which I still unironically enjoy that album. So
why would it be ironic? I mean, I think I definitely declared that as Team BK over TJ, but I think you settled on Team TJ.
What? That was you trying to go that way.
No, I'm Team BK.
No, I had to convince you into the BK.
Oh, boy. We'll have to listen
but that's one to look forward to. Actually, I think it might be the full album. Comes out, I think, this week.
Wow.
Yeah, June 20th. So it comes out June 20th. So, some good music to look forward to. That was, that's a good summer. I mean, that first one is a good summer album. So looking forward to that one. But again, not Canadian.
I love the naming. Yeah, it's Saltwater Ranch. Like, I just can't.
Yeah, he said something. I forget how it goes. I'm going down to the Saltwater Ranch where there's horses and candy and taffy and boats.
Okay.
I did listen to that one a while ago.
You guys taffy in there, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Huge taffy guy. Just fucking love saltwater taffy. Just eat that up.
I love taffy. It's really good.
What is taffy? What's that?
It's like cotton candy where it's just like sugar and that's it.
But it's kind of stretchy. It's it's kind of like gum, but not.
Well, it's gum.
Is it gum?
What is gum?
I think it comes from the gum tree.
Right. Okay. And taffy is just gum that kind of expires faster.
Oh, okay. It's just harder. Yeah. It just disintegrates quicker.
Yeah. What else?
I got something for you. There's a new political party here in British Columbia called OneBC. This really caught my attention, because I'm a politically minded fella. And yeah, we had 2 conservative members of legislature, MLAs, switch over to create their own political party because the conservatives were not conservative enough for them. I'm going to read out their bios here. And one of them is from Clonard Lake country. And this one's my personal favorite, Tara Armstrong. Tara Armstrong is the MLA for Kelowna Lake Country Coldstream and the House Leader of OneBC. Before her election in 2024, Tara grew her Dragon's Den startup into a large and successful business franchise. Well, she did better than Patio Date. She has set herself apart in the legislature as one of the sharpest critics of the government, including on the NDP's radical gender ideology and Premier David Eby's ties to communist China. Impressive. You can kind of give her like a little close up of her face. She's got that crazy eyes look to her. Tara Armstrong.
Yeah, but if you clicked on like the Green Party and then her face was there, I don't know if you would think that.
Yeah, but I think I would think that for those eyes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the eyebrows more in that.
Yeah,
because they're like slant. They're kind of inclined by default.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. You're selling me kind of. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Dallas Brody, the other one here. Dallas Brody's MLA for Vancouver, Quilchena, and the interim leader of OneBC, former defense lawyer, television broadcaster. Her bio is not nearly as good because she doesn't call out the ties to communist China, but you know she's become one of Canada's leading voices on the reconciliation industry, in quotations. I get the feeling she doesn't like land acknowledgements. And, you know, I don't either, but probably for different reasons. Yeah, Dallas says the true courage, honesty, and audacity of a true leader. Dallas. Kind of sounds like a country song when someone's like thinking about Dallas, and Dallas
Dixon,
never called me back. Yeah, Dixon, Dallas.
Austin is a song by Blake Shelton. Call me, don't leave me, baby, and call me Austin.
I think that's kind of a good bit for you. Next time you meet a girl from a different city, is you just kind of call her that name and like, hey, if this is Sycamoose, I still love you, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
just reduce them down to the city they're from, right?
Right.
They love that.
Okay.
Right. Dating advice from Ryan.
The other thing that just came to mind, the G7 summit. Those sons of bitches. They closed down parts of Kananaskis. Right. So I was gonna go down there on day 2 of Calgary, and they blocked off the highway for DJ and gang. Mark Carney saw my first. So I took the wrong turn at one point, I think I took a wrong turn at one point, and I had to kind of go through these kind of like rural roads, cross some farmland, and I saw my first fuck Carney and Donald Trump 2024 flags on right at the end.
Wow, they got the Trump flags too, hey? Those fucking clowns. Yeah, the fuck Carney bumper sticker. That's something to behold.
They had those ready.
They had them ready to go.
Manufactured on
fucking ship them.
Yeah.
Kurt, on a different note here, I have a prediction for you. I think in the latter half of 2020s, I think maybe even more for the 2030s, there's going to be a return to like the classical period of bullying.
Okay.
So, when I think of classical bullying, it's kind of like wedgies, shoving people into lockers, more of the physical harassment, your classic bully taking your milk money.
More physical.
Yeah, more physical. And I think that's going to happen for 2 reasons. We have the biggest one being the AI deepfakes.
Okay, right? Go on.
So we kind of, after we left high school, the cameras on everyone's cell phones just got that much better, right?
Yeah.
And you could tape anything. Anyone gets out of line, you could just kind of record them, which is it's not great. But I think it did lead to like a decline and like that kind of Ganasakia kind of bullying. But now you could your defense could just be like, oh, it's fake, AI generated. Prompt to make a video of Kurt beating up Timmy Two Shoes over there.
So it won't be more physical. It's just gonna be.
I think it will. I think it will because I think the old evidence of proof videos or whatever it might be, that they're not going to hold up as evidence anymore.
Wait, I'm confused. You're saying the videos?
I think that the videos kind of stop bullying, but I think they're not going to be used for evidence because the AI deepfakes
Oh,
are
I
there.
see. They're
Like
tossing
I
the
can
videos out.
put in a prompt and say, Kurt,
Right.
make a video of Kurt slamming Timmy Two Shoes into the locker, and
Right.
it'll do that. And Kurt's fucking feeding them here, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
And then it's also tied in with the rise of conservatism in young men. Like all that, all the different pipelines on YouTube that they got out there.
Tristan Tate.
Tristan Tate. All our favorite guys. What's
Andrew
his name?
Tate, Mr. Belmar.
Mr. Belmar, like that kind of shit. People are gonna be back to the classical bullying when they get fired up. Seeing
I don't
Mr.
know.
Belmar. So yeah, that's my prediction. I think it'll take some time though, like maybe even 5-10 years for it to swing back into effect.
I don't know. I don't really see it necessarily, this big increase in physical bullying. They're just gonna keep pumping up, just the cyber bullying, whatever.
Bullies are hilarious though, in a sad way. Like just the idea, like we talk about a lot about having like an enemy, and bullies certainly fill that role.
You talk about having an enemy. You talk about it at the point you're obsessed. You're obsessed with having an enemy. It's like your life's purpose.
Yeah,
you feel lost without having a counter.
I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah, I need like the anti-Brian, and like I don't know. It certainly led to like a good era of like comedy. It felt like the bully trope. Like I don't see that in like movies nowadays. Like it's almost like ironic that there's.
Is it any coincidence that those kind of 1990s, early 2000 raunchy high school American Pie, etc. comedies disappeared at the same time that physical bullying disappeared? I don't think so. Yeah. Once they kind of pushed out the wedgies and shoving kids into lockers, life just wasn't as funny anymore, right? So high school wasn't as funny anymore. So you're right in that the world might need that, especially at these times like this. Like you said, we're on the brink of World War III. Feels like we've been on the brink of World War III for a few years at least now.
Yeah, goddamn, we get closer each podcast.
I was watching You last night.
Me?
You, the show.
Oh yeah, okay.
I
haven't watched it yet. No.
Have you watched any of You?
No.
None. Okay. I finished it. So they had their final season last night, season 5. Or sorry, they had their final season come out, and I just finished it last night. Absolutely ridiculous show, but I love it. It's super entertaining. I finished it, but I just like bringing it up because it's fun to say. You, yeah. Do you have anything else for us?
I think that's all for the listeners.
Weren't you weren't you here in like Penticton?
Huh?
Weren't you at Apex or in Penticton? Like, wasn't there you've just blocked out a whole week of your life here.
Yeah,
me and the listeners.
For sure. Like, there was a big old bachelor party. For a fan of the show, Christian Venegas, wow. We were up at Apex, Kurt's neck of the woods. And we had a Survivor themed bachelor party. Another friend of the show, Ken McDonald. Yeah, he did a great time. He was like a Jeff Probst like figure who put all these Survivor challenges together in the bachelor party. And he had to find all these little plastic animals that we refer to as little guys, and then each little guy was worth like a point. And so there'd be some hidden around the chalet. You get some from rewards and all that. And so, there was the winner gets to be involved in Christian's wedding and in a fun way.
Wow.
So big honor. My team just dominated, just absolutely fucking dominated all those other losers out there. Me and friend of the show, Jake Carey, and the guy I haven't met, Liam, we just raked it in. Won like I think 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5 challenges. So yeah, we cruised our way right to the final. I got ousted because I couldn't spell the word inappropriate.
Why did
INA.
you get ousted for
There was
that?
like a spelling bee. That was
Oh, okay.
kind of like a individual challenge, but yeah, there was lots of good team challenges. They didn't all involve drinking, but yeah, some guys were just fucking hammered drunk. Like first night, I think a couple guys had like 18 plus beers, and it was
Oh,
just,
wow.
oh my god! Like I think I had 12 ish, and I put myself to sleep. I don't remember going to bed the first night. Just kind of midnight rolls around. I'm like, all right, well, I'll see you later, and just kind of put myself to bed.
Yeah.
Everyone else stays up till like 3:30 in the morning, and I think that was kind of my saving grace for the next day that I had that extra 3 hour hard sleep on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you? Well, actually, no. I guess it's the day 2 hangover that's always better than the day 1
The day 2 hangover, non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-existent. Just
And you were actually doing beers, like gluten-free beers, or?
no. I had a mix of. I wanted to get some like chuggable or shotgunnable drinks, so I got the half sweet twisteds.
Yeah.
And yeah, that served my purpose for sure. And the other half was nudes. So I had a 12 pack of each, and they were all gone by the end. But yeah, I think the boys like can't really brag too much because the boys like to tell me that there was like half a dozen half empty ones throughout the house.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I could totally see myself getting to that point where I just start popping tops and don't don't finish them. Just
Yeah.
all right, well, gotta get another one, and then fucking go to the fridge.
So you're not going to be in the wedding then?
Yeah, I'm not going to be in the wedding. I was not the sole survivor. That went to Liam Ross,
Wow.
who was on
Congrats,
the team. Yeah,
Liam.
congrats.
If you're listening.
Yeah, quite the moment. Quite the moment, quite the honor, if I do say so. We never actually ended up leaving Apex.
You're still there?
I'm back home in Nelly, but I was going to enlist you to be a driver to get down to the wineries and breweries in Penn City.
Yeah.
But yeah, we never
Okay.
left the mountain. We just stayed up there and went for a little walkabout to the village and back, and it was dead quiet out there.
Yeah, I bet. I know some people like live up there during the summer, but I don't really know what there is to do. I guess you can do some hiking and biking, but
yeah, there were some people with some quads and mountain bikes, but yeah, the village itself was pretty dead. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, everyone had a really fucking good time. Good group of boys, same group of guys, plus a couple others that we did in Las Vegas with as another bachelor party.
Yeah.
Back in March. So yeah, it was kind of like a bachelor part 2 for us for the boys.
Wow.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was good shit. I like having a good I think the guys need a good purpose to a batch. Whether it's like gambling or Survivor or fishing or whatever it might be, something to kind of just do guy stuff around, right?
Yeah, you need to be sidetracked from all those dark thoughts and just staying out of trouble kind of thing. So,
right.
Yeah,
it was good fun. I think my favorite game it's called Silent Assassin, and you get one person who's blindfolded, and they have a Nerf gun with them, and everyone else is on the same floor, and they're kind of hiding, like they can't move their feet. And then the person with the Nerf gun has 4 shots, and they're trying to see how many people they can shoot.
Yeah.
Just by kind of like echolocation. So there's one person who's kind of behind them, making sure they don't bump into shit. And then you can yell "sip" 3 different times, and then everyone who's kind of standing there, trying not to get shot, takes a sip, right? And then you kind of have to echolocate them from there. Like there was one point where Christian, the Bachelor, was he was inches from me for what felt like 2 minutes, and I was trying not to breathe. It was fucking impossible. But yeah, it was that was probably my favorite game out of all the ones that we had.
Well, good. I'm glad you had fun without me.
Yeah, good family fun.
Cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Summer solstice in a couple days. Brian Kelly, Sunshine State of Mind, Season 2, Chapter 1 in a couple days. NHL off season. Summer's here. I got my crop top on. Randy, hot guy walks are happening.
Woo.
And we'll probably talk to you all in a couple weeks, I bet. So thank you. Thanks again.
See you all.
Lanterns out.
My droopy-eyed Madonna, a triple fire alarm. All the other rogues and darlings get sent to